This one is going to be a very good one. Sorry for zooming on there so much. Now, I've been having to rant a little bit too much to my girlfriend, and she's been getting on me, and that's okay. I understand I'm a bit much when it comes. Sorry, I shouldn't say ranting. It's not ranting. It's just what's the word? Expressing myself. So I am gonna tell you all a little story, and then what I have learned other people have gone through as well from this situation. Okay, so let me take you back, everybody. This is around sophomore year of high school, so around 2012. This was around track season, so it was definitely in February, if not March, because I remember getting ready to train for a meet that we had for spring break before that. And yeah, those memories very easily link up from when I had the incident and then the next day talking to people about the incident. That's why it was very easy to recollect on what happened. So, I am in my room. My room wasn't very big. If anything, this room would be a good example of showing how it would work. So basically you would think of, see if I can visually show it. Now you gotta bear with me, but imagine right here, that way would be a door, my bed right here in the middle, and then to my right would be my nightstand. Now, when this situation, like, it's not uncommon to wake up in the middle of the night, right? Like, I believe it's not the first time I'd woken up in the middle of the night, but you just wake up, go pee or something, and then go back to sleep, right? But this specific incident, so I'm a pretty heavy sleeper too. I don't wake up through thunderstorms. I don't wake up if anybody's like shaking me, like, hey, wake up, blah, blah, blah. Like, you really gotta like do something to wake me up. Unless I'm just ready to wake up, then it's just hard. But that's what she said nonetheless. And when I was thinking about it, when I woke up that night, it really perplexed me. So I had my phone on the nightstand playing iHeartRadio from like the Los Angeles station or something like that. And I just remember Katy Perry's Dark Horse playing. And if any of you all have heard that song, the instrumental's kind of odd. It's very unique sounding instrumental, and especially when you hear it late at night and it's low volume, so really only the louder parts of the song kind of seep through. So I was kind of a little freaked out by that, I won't lie. And another thing to add, my mother, I had a stepdad that would check up on us every once in a while. So like, I know what it looks like when he would check up on us pretty much. And what was pretty crazy about this was, so I wake up looking at my phone, and then for some reason I'm just kind of compelled to look at the doorknob. And I'm looking at the doorknob. Once I turn around, looking at the door, still laying down. And this whole time, I just got this weird feeling going through my body. I just basically fear, pretty much just overwhelmed my body. And as I see the doorknob slowly turning more and more and more until eventually it turns to where it can't turn no more, the door starts pushing open, but slowly. That's kind of weird. If you're gonna open the door, just fucking open the door. And they don't. It's slowly opening, only opens up to about 8 to 10 inches, and then it stops. And I'm looking where the doorknob would be, or where the doorknob is, and I don't see a hand, at least very easily. And that throws me off, so I'm just like, oh shit. And I look up to where the head would be, average height of a person, right? You look up, and all I see is this black figure shape. And whatever it is, it wasn't looking at me at first, but as I look at it, it looks at me. You clearly see it's what it would be, its head just shift downward. And that struck so much goddamn fear into me. I was like, what the fuck? I don't think I said anything, but I definitely was like, I made probably a noise or something, and it closed the door so fast with such speed, didn't make any noise though. And that scared me the most, was like, this door should make some noise. The fact that it did not make any noise, oh yeah, that scared the shit out of me. I was just kind of blown back by it all. And so the next day when I go to track practice, and it's just kind of running through my head again, I'm not really able to focus that day. And I tell my sister and some of the other track mates that we had, and I was letting them know, like, hey, you ever know something crazy that happened to me last night? And I explained it to them, and they're just like, well, that's pretty crazy. And I believe one of them mentioned that maybe it was sleep paralysis, but I wouldn't say so, because I definitely spoke a little bit myself. I didn't have anybody stopping me. I didn't feel like any chest press. I was able to toss and turn, put the sheets over my head. So by all intents and purposes, this was not sleep paralysis. I could move. But for whatever fucking reason, this entity, whatever it was, let me see it, and it saw me, and it freaked out and left. And mind you, this house wasn't even old. We were the first people that lived in this house. So that's another thing that I can mark off the list of, like, it's not a haunting, it's not something like that. I wouldn't believe it would be. It'd be hard for it to be a poltergeist or some kind of paranormal activity from that perspective, but yeah, it threw me off. And so I've gone quite a while from there on to a few years I should say, of I labeled it as a shadow person. I never heard that name before, and the reason I called it a shadow person was because I didn't think it was a ghost. Like, from everything I've researched, you know, it didn't seem like it was a ghost. Ghosts usually are half apparitions, some are full, but if not, you can distinguish like parts of the eyes or the facial features. This thing, I couldn't see shit. It's like imagining, I don't know how to give a good example. I don't really know. I don't think I have anything that would be able to work. But it's just basically seeing a shadow that is transparent, 50% transparent, because you could still see through it. Because I know we had a night light in the hallway that shined, and you could still see the light kind of passing underneath the floor. And yeah, fucking chilling, to say the least. I still kind of freak out every once in a while when I'm having to recant the story, whatever we tell it, and kind of put a little bit more piece together each time. Something about the whole thing as well that seemed very off. I find this out later on a show called Midnight in the Desert by Art Bell. I'm sure some people have heard of him. He's a famous man, talk show host from West Coast to Coast and other stuff like that. So this man is already very heavily conspiracy theorist, basically. And I know that kind of gets pushed out a lot, but I mean, it's true. Okay, sorry about that. From Art Bell, he had at least one of the many shows he had. He's done a few, or not just a few, but he's done quite a lot. And I was able to come across a YouTube channel that at least archived quite a bit of them, posted them back up. And this one at least was from 2015 when he had done this interview and talk show, everything like that. Again, talking about shadow people, he had a paranormal, he had some expert on there. I can't remember the name exactly, but I just know for sure that this guy, hearing him, very knowledgeable about his field. Didn't sound like he was just some loon talking about, oh, you take drugs, oh my god, I see this and that. Like, no, this dude was a scientific expert with degrees and other stuff like that backing him. I believe he had a master's, stuff like that. So I had a little bit more reason to believe that this guy isn't gonna just bullshit, basically. And as he's going on his story, Art says, look, this is what happened to me. This is what I kind of had happen and kind of got me to want to do this in the beginning. or he was a non-believer until this happened, and he wasn't able to be objective with it. He tells his story similar to mine. At least, I'll explain it. For him, when he first saw this apparition, being, entity, whatever you want to call it, he was doing some research on the topic of the show that day, and I believe it was the same thing on shadow people, paranormal, and all that stuff. And he had this odd feeling to just look to his right. Like, you know, you kind of get that first like peripheral vision, and then it makes you look. And so, as he turns, he just sees a shadow figure there, and all of a sudden, his heart just starts racing. Immediately, he just like freaks out. He turns around to the other side. All of a sudden, it's right there as well. Unexplainable. And then, you know, now this is really starting to freak him out. And it's just like, okay, once, twice, what the fuck? And so he gets up out of his chair, starts heading towards the door, and as he had gotten up to turn around, boom, in front of the door. And doesn't do anything other than that. He stops, analyzes, and then whatever this entity is, just like, if you think of like hyperdrive, that kind of effect, the body just kind of, or again, he described it the same way, where it was a full body apparition. You could see the whole figure. It was all shadow, all just blackness, whatever, and 50% transparent, so he could still see through the other side of this being. And after it zoomed, he went to his gun safe, got out a pistol and stuff, and just searched the house. He thought, he was like, maybe someone broke in. There's just some weird, like, something weird, right? But no, checked the whole house, nothing. So he's having these people on, trying to, you know, help me figure this out, because I'm lost here. I don't know what to do. I don't know if I'm defenseless. One of the things we learned was that they're not evil. It seems like they're just watching us, observing from a distance. Don't know why. Some of the people that were talking were saying that maybe they're, you know, interdimensional beings, or that they're beings on a similar Earth, but just tuned to a slightly different frequency. I can believe that. It's not too out the realm of possibilities when you think about how we change a radio station just slightly, and all of a sudden all these other radio frequencies hit it. Something, you know, you got a rock station on one, you got Christian music on the other. So it's just these tiny concepts that build onto a greater, bigger scheme, or whatever you want to call it, design. And so one way to ward them off, or at least if you want to keep them away, because as the person documented in this was saying, was that if you've seen it once, you're gonna more than likely see it again. Is it the same shadow person? I don't know, but you definitely will see more. Again, the good thing to know is that they're not harmful. It's just kind of freaky to see them and notice them. And a way to keep rid of them is to like have a light. Oops, wait, this way. Have a light source. Obviously not a fucking bright one right here, but something like this, or a little fucking nightlight or some shit. Yeah, that'll work. And then positive music, apparently also classical music very much helps. So that's another thing that you could do. Yeah, that's pretty much all I can say on that part. And like what I was mentioning earlier, tying into like how I said that my situation to arts was very similar as well, was that, so the first incident was, yes, at night, around like 2-3 in the morning. That I can feel like, okay, maybe it's just extra activity happens around that time. The ones that freak me out are, as I've worked as a delivery driver for like a packaging company, and then doing lawn service, I've noticed, now I could just be crazy, hallucinating, whatever, but I could swear I very much more see shadow people, or I see more shadow people now more than ever, especially like, you know, in between vehicles and by forests. And I make sure I look very, like, double take, triple take pictures sometimes of what I'm looking at to see if I see anything. And when they're not there anymore, I'm just like, I will definitely document and take pictures when I can. From what I've gathered, apparently it's very hard to actually get a photo of this because, like I've said, once it notices that you notice, it flees. And again, it's always from that seeping suspicion, or whatever it's called, knowing you're being watched. Yeah, we're fucking terrible at it as humans, but it rings true in some way. It has to. Something told me to look at the fucking doorknob and stare at it, and boom. So, by my belief, I think there are stuff there. We just don't know what it is. I just wanted to simply document this, put it out there, and see what other people say as far as seeing shadow people. If you need other comments or just explanations as far as your type of shadow person, a quick rundown on the 3 types, categories if you want to call it. So the type that I saw and Art saw are just shadow people. They're not evil, they're not good, they're just neutral watching you. That's all we know. Then you have the second ones, which are related to sleep paralysis, and these are the ones that are more like the having either hexes or other shit like that put on you, where you feel the pressure on your chest and then not being able to speak or move in general. That would be another shadow person. Technically, I think it's considered a hag raven or something like that. And then the last one would be your typical ghost, demonic, evil spirit. For those, if they actually have, let me make a distinction. For the sleep paralysis one, they are not known to be able to physically like mess with other objects, but they definitely, you know, physically touch you or react to you. The one that me and Art had, or at least I don't know about Art, but I know for me, mine was fucking touched a goddamn door and opened it. That's pretty physical in my opinion. And then another one, the last one, like I was saying, that's evil, demonic, whatever. For this one, they have red eyes usually, and a little bit more distinct features on the face. All of them are still considered shadow people, apparitions or whatever, but the one that I saw is by intents and purposes a legit shadow person. Doesn't have anything to do with evil, good, whatever. It's just that. But yeah, I just want to throw it out to all of you. If anybody else has any experiences they want to tell me, let me know down in the comments. And for now, I will stop and I will finish my thought process on the next video. Because boy, I have got stuff going on now. But take care. Good night.